So I was, as always, am looking forward to play. I'm always looking forward to the opportunity to, build these castles in the sky and storm them. And you guys have been a nice portion of my play landscape. My ability to step away from the doldrums and responsibilities and all of that banality of modern adult life. And that means a lot. Thank you all so very much.
Yeah, being adult sucks.
It definitely does. We're just kids with more punishments that we often look forward to. For the record, without a shadow of a doubt, with every intention of our hearts and minds, the direct effort of all of our focus, this is officially In the Shadow of the White City, Season 5, Under the Level Winter Sky. With everything that has happened in Dalton, and all of the alliances made and being made right before the Coteries' very eyes, with the chaos of change, not only in the air, but perfuming every single pore of the avaricious kindred gathered. Dia realizes that the way forward is like every knock of opportunity will only come with a dedicated push. Decide what you want, decide what you need, and put forth the effort to split the difference. Frost understands that he is, while usually well-armed, ill-equipped in the current situation to be of any factor except for as a body man. He is the vicious lamb with saber-toothed tiger teeth thrown to the slaughter. Zach realizes that there is no such thing as a monolith. The Anarchs of Riverdale, now bound in close association and political union with the Free State of Dalton, are not a monolith. They are filled with doubts, worries, concerns, emotional outbursts, and most glaringly to the scars already on Zach's heart, quick, rapid-fire tongue. Muzan weighs how heavy the crown might actually be, while initially signing on and going mostly for the lark of it because someone has to do it, otherwise someone else from outside would come and do it. And while kissing the ring of Dancer is one thing, kissing the ass of some other jackass would be absolutely 100% despicable. At least that was the idea when it was just him, Dancer. Knowing that there is a secret cachet of fellow Orlocks stashed away by the former senator's hand changes the scope of things. The power that could be had by divesting them of their decay. The power that could had bending them to his will, getting them to follow marching orders, the protections for his own little slice of heaven could be 100-fold. And McLaren, having watched the congregation, having been privy from a distance, having gotten soiled by the splatter of it all, and watching the ebb and flow of the kindred gathering, harkens back to the idea of salt. Everyone takes it for granted these days. It's everywhere. It's in everything. There was a time when spy masters of old would watch the salt mine and this importation of salt of other nearby kingdoms. Because if those kingdoms increase their output, if those kingdoms began importing, it was most assuredly something afoot, because an army marches on its stomach, and something as small and innocuous as salt was a key sign that that empire, that domain was preparing to march. And with the chaos present, it is clear that the other senators, the other remaining barons, are stockpiling salt. So having stolen a moment for themselves and managing to somehow regroup in the same general area as things are beginning to wind down, as Pazuli is releasing those who interact with her back to their own devices, we begin in reverse alphabetical order, because as we all know, communication is the only way to elucidate knowledge, to impart wisdom, to make sure that everything is firing on all the correct cylinders. So back in the same area, hanging out at the bankhead at the back of the room, watching all of these happen, what does Zach impart to to his coterie members?
Well, since they've all gathered, he takes a look at Dia. I've tried speaking with those from my home, and that turned out to be a colossal waste of time. They've already made up their minds about me. It doesn't seem as though anything I do or say will change it. As far as they're concerned, anybody who isn't one of them is the enemy. Anybody willing to play nice with the enemy must be the enemy as well.
Wait, was that to everybody or just somebody specific?
Saying this to Dia. If anybody else is listening, if the other coterie members are listening, though, they would hear him say that, but he's talking to Dia.
Molly, you should know by now that people like to talk. They like to hear themselves talk. And whether something is true or not basically comes down to how many people believe it or not. Sometimes it can be a whole bald-faced lie. If you get enough people believing it, it's now the fucking truth. So, what I would do in this situation is confront the problem. Ask him straight up yourself whether or not he has said these things or done these things. Do not let him sway you with his good looks or kisses, because I know that is a thing that can happen. And anything less than the truth should be rewarded with, well, you're standing up for yourself more often now, right? Show him your true power. Show him that you will not take the bullshit any further. If you need somebody to have your back, then I will do my best to have it. I would like to make friends rather than enemies right now, but that particular person, based on what they have done to you,
has made up his mind.
Does not deserve to be my friend. Exactly.
So be it.
Let me know.
Very well. I believe the both of us put together can get a very clear message across.
Clear messages are really important right now, and Felix and Vu are the antithesis of that. They are spreading broken messages. So keeping those two in mind, whatever we do is important. Because whatever we do, they seem to be pushing against.
Speaking of making friends, he goes into his pocket and then flips up a card, the business card that he got. I made one. Potentially.
You made a friend without causing a fight? That is a moment of celebration.
Yeah, name's Josh Bushup, or Joshua Bushup. Any of you ever heard of him?
I haven't heard of him. Who is he hanging out with? Who is he aligned to?
Decibel.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, Decibel is very important. He's also really twitchy. But having an inroad into his inner group is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Frost, darling, let me see the card and point out which one gave it to you here.
I handed it to her.
Tapping it against her chin, she looks around and sees who Frost points out. Okay, while I am glad you have made yourself a friend, and I am wholly behind you, I would like for you to be very cautious with this man. The reason he's hanging out with Decibel is because he is of the same clan as Decibel. The thing with that is because I saw him that night at the party, walking around with Cyprian, and they seemed very buddy-buddy. Just be cautious, okay?
You walk around with Cyprian and Decibel, and might be of the same clan. Yeah, Frost. Those are the Chimsey. They are often called dragons. They're body changers.
Sounds like fun.
No, they can manipulate flesh. Like I can manipulate light.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can manipulate other things. They can twist it and turn flesh into Play-Doh. So just be very careful.
I'm very careful with everyone.
There is also a bit of a old wives' tale. I don't know how true this is or not, but the fact that Decibel seems to have a new gangrel playmate, pet, I don't know what she is yet, but the fact that he seems to have one makes me believe that the facts are true there, that the dragons tend to be drawn towards gangrels for some reason, as in they make good pairings for whatever reason that is, and I don't know why exactly they are attracted so much to gangrel, but the fact that he so readily offered you help after his clanmate got a gangrel as a pet, and you are new, this makes me cautious.
Yeah, Frost, be careful. Gangrels do flesh changing as part of their paradigm, much like werewolves do.
I'm not exactly sure that you guys are quite fathoming what is happening here. Based on your friend, the little Gandalf that came and made a mess of things, it is clear that your local Samich are gathering forces. They are operating as lords of the mountain, though there's no mountain nearby. And every lord needs a hunting dog, and every lord needs a loyal knight, and every lord needs a court jester. What a lord doesn't need is someone to stand against them before they've strengthened their army, before they've walled in their forts, before they've carved out hidden niches for their archers. And while you're sitting over here, gabbing amongst yourselves, look there. What do you see? Of course you see Urzuli and all of her tall, Bahari glory. But what else do you see? You see battle lines being drawn, alliances being made, and you all, your lot, sitting here from a distance like crows on a limb. There's no wise tale, of course, about the crows. One for happiness, one for sadness, 2 for mirth, 3 for happiness, 4 for birth, 5 for a healthy boy, 6 for the devil's own self, or something like that. I forget how the rhyme goes, but all the same.
Remember it from the crow.
But all the same, you're sitting over here, and all of that action there, all of the other barons of note, all of the other senators jockeying for position, looking to kiss the ring of the heir apparent to all that Geneva left behind. Look at that. Look at how he stands with his guard dog, silent on the leash, proving his dominion, how his man-at-arms moves through the crowd, and how his vizier, the good Dr. Bishop, acts as defense, which is really not the case. We all know that if you get close enough, you intervene where you shouldn't be in their area, be treated, at least for now, with a good tongue lashing. I'm sure more will come later.
Seth freaks out from the accent coming from behind him, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Does he recognize the voice?
Oh, and this one, your one true love, Bridget.
Oh, sweet Jesus, I knew it. Look, you Harridan. You'll not be yelling at my friends about politics.
Oh, I'm not yelling, but you see, my maker and I have experienced several losses recently. It seems as if one of our dearly departed grandchildren are no longer amongst the land of the living, and with our own encampment not quite properly formed for a defensive maneuver, she has to play the game, at least on the surface. I'm trying to get you all to be of some help, some assistance. She saw potential in you, and you're sitting here.
If the crazy blood happy young'un wants help from my senator, then she can ask directly, like an Englishman.
Fuck English, and yes, she did ask. Hence the reason why I'm bothered to offer a bit of assistance. But if you'd rather not, if
Well,
you'd rather
no,
let your potential fail.
No, I never
whistle
say
in the
that.
mouth thing with the fingers. Stop. Both of you, please. Like I said, we are having a conversation so that we've put a united front forward and there's no more misinformation given to tear us to pieces with. If that is a problem for us to do, then let us know that. We are taking a moment to shore up our fences and check in with each other so that we may re-enter the trenches and do whatever it is we need to do. Understanding that we are a tight unit.
What my dear senator is saying is that we've not thrown our cap over the wall yet. We've just built the wall. Indeed, if your patron wants to talk to my patron, we're listening. Because the other patrons within this hallowed hall scare the unholy bejesus out of us.
Alright. Oh, you shouldn't have had Jesus in you to begin with, but just offering my assistance as best as I can. When things, as they inevitably will, turn to pitchfork, fire, blood on the street, I'd like it not to be you that's laying there in the puddle of it all. But your decisions are your decisions. Your counsel are your counsel. Do what you need to do. I bid you all a lovely evening.
Oh no, darling, you don't get to walk away after tossing that cap into our yard.
My dear friend said anything about walking, and she steps back into the shadow behind her.
I hate that woman. God, every time. And with the fucking accent she makes me. And then he looks embarrassed. He's like,
He is looking at Frost. Frost looking at Seth like, do you hear him?
Seth is like, suddenly he turns bright red from fucking hairline to toenails. Bright red. He's like, okay, all y'all never heard any of that when I was arguing with her.
Careful now, you're making yourself look a little bit tasty.
Shut it! Shut it! Shut it, you zombie bastard!
Don't forget, I still haven't forgotten about the bus situation.
Yeah, you've never made anybody ride a bus before. But what I'm saying is, she brings up an interesting point. Decibel has his group. The Bahari have their group. Right now, we're an isolated group. We have to pick a side. We have to
Then mingle.
Oh, sweet Jesus, really? We had to say the N word? Take your invisible ass and go listen.
With pleasure. And Muzan is going to sneak into the other crowds to continue his spying quest.
And Seth is going to follow Brigid and see where her group lies. He's not invisible. He's actually very obvious because he doesn't have his trench coat, so he has the white shirt, the tie, and the fucking shoulder holster. But he's gonna follow Brigid anyway because she's a dumbass. Senator, I mean this in every form of respect. Make friends, make them now, and make them fast. And take Frost with you.
So it looks like I may have to resolve my matter myself.
Zach always had his own matter and always had his own fucking problems to deal with.
Pretty much, yeah.
Seth watched Brigid walk away, disappear into a shadow, but he knows where that patron lies, and that Brigid is going to arrive there at some point soon, but he has slightly other priorities, and he once again looks for Rich.
Meanwhile, Zach turns to Dia and Frost. Oh, time for me to make a mess of things once more, as I always do. That is, because the only time I can seem to do anything right is when someone's with me. How did I ever make it this far? And he buries his face in his hands and sighs. trying to pull himself together.
Gia squares their shoulders, flips their ponytail behind them. Alright, let's do this then. And, puts Zach somewhat in front of them and steers them towards where they need to go so that they can start making the rounds, but first handle their major issue with the whole Riverdale people.
And Zach starts making his way over, occasionally looking back at Dia. And also officially putting on the closest thing to a game face that he really has.
Okay. Well, here's the question. Of the surprisingly many members of Riverdale who have attended, of the surprisingly many varied strata of the anarchs of Riverdale, the true independents of Thornton Township, which cluster of people talking and milling about does Zach head towards? Back to the scene of the crime, as it were, those who spoke and were spoken to by Zach, or does she seek out Drew or Lothair?
Oh. Right now, he has half a mind of giving Drew a piece of his mind, but he understands that that's a really, really bad idea right now, so he's heading towards Lothair. Kind of try to buddy his grandsire.
Gia is all for this.
So Lothair and Stewart are exchanging. Oh, really? You don't say. I had no idea that you and Ika were involved in you, Naomi. I enjoy your company, but I don't believe that you should speak of Baron academic Chillawadu that way. I'm not sure that you all are quite that social. But that is what we're here to establish and hope that it will move forward. But his pet name, and I'm not quite sure if where you heard that from. Oh, Concordia. Mr. Volkier. Yeah, Zach, yeah. It's funny, we were just speaking similarly to what you've done with the place, and well, there is a party from Gary who are taking up residence just outside of the township. Perhaps we could arrange a similar business for them. Yes, Senator Stewart was informing me that they are holding several properties throughout the region, and I can't say that I don't approve of those potentialities. What brings you two over?
This is my first time hearing that there's a contingent from Gary coming, unless you mean Silk.
Lothair looks towards Naomi and then back to you. His smile doesn't falter, but it's clear that Naomi is not aware or shouldn't have been aware. And he's gauging her response. Her response is to smile and incline her head. It seems as if our little township is gaining attention. How can we help you? Senator Clark.
Zach, you know what you wish to do. Come.
Well, I know there is a bit of a problem. Some former friends of mine from Riverdale. According to rumor, a certain someone may have very well stolen my home from underneath my nose.
Naomi speaks up. Well, if I may, there are several lawyers that attend to kindred matters throughout this area. I can connect you with several if you would like. They'd be able to press your suit and ensure the property remains in your, or arrange for the properties to become held for you in perpetuity. As you understand, our current state of lack of living is prohibitive when it comes to certain legal recourses. I believe, Senator Stewart, that my grandchild, Voltaire, is speaking of the rumors and gossip as to the Rosie. It is nothing quite so legal. And with Drew and Sasha attempting to toe the line of actual guidance, I believe that this is merely gossip.
That is what I am hoping. For their sake and my own.
Senator White, forgive me, dear. And he takes a step closer. Resting his fingers lightly against the outer edge of yours, his left hand to your right. That nice curvature from the wrist out along the palm. Just a small trailing of a finger. You do understand that while Zach is my grandchild, they don't aspire to the exact same standing amongst our clan. If you are holding them in good faith and giving them the blessings of your tutelage, I will speak with Drew once more, and perhaps we can find a way to dispel not only the rumors and gossip that is circulating, but perhaps align our interests more specifically.
Gia clears their throat and blushes furiously. Just for some reason, whenever she's around him, the girliness pops through. But she nods. Zach has become actually quite useful and has surprisingly kept me sane, I would think, when things get a little rough. So I have appreciated having them around, and I am sorry that my pulling them into possible tower business has ruined their relationship with your grandchild. Or your child, though, sorry. Hard to keep track of these things sometimes. While I would love for everybody to get along, I will not stand for any more slander or stealing of Zach's club. But other than that, yes, I think we can align our interests.
Well, as your status amongst us and amongst these gathered is considerably of note, how would you like for us to proceed.
Okay, is he asking Zach, Dia, or both of us?
It's an open statement. What would you like to do?
Gain allies.
Well, I would love to be able to keep my home, if at all possible, but unfortunately, doing so may mean doing the opposite of what the purpose of this whole gathering is.
He takes a step back and rubs his hands together. As far as making allies, being of service, sacrificing a bit of yourself is always a fine first step, my little wolf. We've heard quite a lot about you recently. And as far as your club, what is it that you believe that this is accomplishing? What do you believe that this moment is in the grand scheme of things?
Honestly, I don't really see how. This is more of a personal matter of mine, and also, in a way, gets a message across. Specifically, a person can only be bent so far before they snap. And with that, he dons a look of anger.
Perhaps that's the
more
purpose of the
composed
gossip.
anger.
Perhaps that's the purpose of the gossip. You didn't answer what you believe that this is. And he motions with his hands towards Naomi and Pastor. You see Blakeney and View engaging in conversation. You see Arzuli dismissing several people and still holding relative court. You see, not far away, Decibel speaking with one after another kindred who are easing closer to his person. And the whole entire time, the tall, strong, clearly biracial woman standing on his right, just behind his shoulder, remains silent, watching the room about them. While on his left, Cyprian greets other kindred, some of those who've been ushered along and moved along gently by Decibel, while moving in an almost sentry-like circuit around them. Floating here and there is the tall, jacketed, steam-goggled individual that exchanged a business card with Frost, the good Dr. Bishop. And Lothair raises a brow and looks back to you. What exactly do you believe is happening here? Naomi looks from you to him, and I believe that Felix was hoping to hold a moment with me. I'll be right back. And she steps away, leaving you four alone.
What I believe to be happening is that everyone has already made their decision and they are now acting on it.
Not everyone.
And what is their decision?
That is the part that I do not know. That is the part that I need to know.
Here's what's happening. Being as your lovely sire and my failure of a childer did not educate you. And look at Decibel. You see those that he's speaking with? There are ranking members of the baronies of Riverdale, the remaining members, most of which are in service to my baron. Look there, Derek Zuli. She is collecting senators and the loose affiliate members of the unaligned to her. There are battle lines being drawn. In this place, in this party, in this sumptuous environment, people, kindred, are attending to the matters of state. There are assassinations being planned. There are wars being prepared for. And the very real territories and domains of both Riverdale and Dalton, as the two largest members of the township, are being realigned. I cannot educate you more than that without overstepping the boundaries of your ties and connections as a member of Concordia's cabinet. But the world is moving forward. If you continue to navel gaze instead of act on the world around you, you will not have the land beneath your home's feet. If you focus inwardly while the world keeps moving, well, there's a saying. If you don't stand up for others, there won't be others to stand up for you when it is your time on the chopping block. But let's tend to your club. Senator White, how would you like to move forward in making this announcement, in joining these matters together, and sealing the matter of Zach's club up permanently?
Well, as a new club owner myself, it's going to take a while for me to understand all of the things that it takes to run such a business.
Oh, there it goes.
What would you recommend?
A sanguine donor. A quiet moment where conversations not pertaining to the delineations of state can be had. We're learning what makes the other person laugh and smile, learning what tears they've shed and whom they've lost over the years. However, being as I cannot have what I would most heartfelt jest, as the Rosie being the halcyon sign of inherent rabble-rousing and inherent disrespect for all that exists outside of the purview of rock and roll with a little bit of soul, as it is currently outside of the purview of my Baron and currently in the purview of Baron McEwen. If there is any issue, I would typically choose to make a scene of some merit in their presence. Faustina is a spiritually inclined personage. She's not unswayable, but she does have a shrewd mind, and she deals with things that never have been human. So her understanding of certain things are completely exotic and foreign. But, as my father often told me, why treat the symptoms when you can treat the disease?
And when it's said, why treat the symptoms when you can treat the disease, Zach mouths that part as if he is truly taking it to heart, or at least trying to take it to heart. And it's obvious that the gears are turning. So he's at least listening to what's being said.
Very, very good. And while you decide your course of action, while you're sitting there listening, Frost, you've contributed to make alliances, but listening to what has been exchanged between the 3 members of the Clan of the Rose, the 3 other members of the glittering, sparkling, all eyes on them crowd, what is his plan of action? What is he attempting to accomplish? Realizing that this is a battlefield, realizing that others are armed with larger caliber weapons, but knowing that this battle will be fought whether you take part or not, what is it that Frost is choosing? What is Frost deciding, having overheard that portion of the conversation?
Frost would, he kind of wants to hold his tongue for now because he doesn't truly know how any of this works yet, and he wants to just process it, see what Dia does, and then what everyone does, and just then after watching party goers for a bit, then decides to mingle.
Seth, for his part, is heading towards Rich.
Get Rich? Sorry.
So Frost is staying as an adjutant and body man for Dia. No, I'm sorry. Frost. I did say Frost. I'm sorry.
You did. Oh. Sorry, my dog's being annoying. That's... One sec.
It's here where Zach then starts looking for Faustin. Basically seeing if he can find Faustin in the crowd.
Well, Frost's purposes, what he wanted to do this party, for the party, was, find other gangrel.
And how would you tell what clan someone is by looking at them?
You can tell usually by the way they hold themselves.
I see. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll a 1d10 for me, please?
Oh, no. I don't like whenever you... 1d10. Oh, my goodness, it's not... Okay. Here we go. Hey! Wow, that's a crit!
Very, very good. That's actually just the number that we're looking for. Let's see. Okay. Let's just look over here at these notes right here. And what in fact are... Okay. It does not take long as listening to the other 3 discuss and talk and interact before Frost's mind begins to wonder. He's like, well, I was here to meet other people like me who are clearly gangrel, so I'll go do just that. They're safe here. It's just a conversation. There can't be anything remotely dangerous about a conversation. And It doesn't take long for you to find a statuesque woman of roughly 6'2", 6'1" and a half maybe. Her nearly platinum hair has streaks of gray through it. Her skin the color of slightly tanned leather. Her eyes, however, are another matter entirely. There's something wild and vicious about her hooded dark caramel eyes with the 2 rings through her brow, one literally sitting somehow affixed through the skin at her temple. Her lip ring in the left side of her large chocolate brown stained lips and the 7 piercings in her left ear speak to you of wildness. The fact that she is dressed not ostentatiously, but not poorly either. Her pants covered in actual, honest to goodness, tailored chaps, bespeaking of her potentially riding a motorcycle or a horse. You're not sure what kindred would be able to ride a horse these days because animals don't like you, but all the same, there is very much that aesthetic there. The jeans beneath, dark as midnight, and the dark blue shirt requiring you to look at it twice to make sure that it is in fact not black and instead is that dark blue. Her forearms bound in leather cuffs, and her watching almost fairly from the edges of the conversation near Urzuli lets you know, based on how she carries herself, she clearly is the one. So, what you come on, bud? How do you approach Lelio?
Sorry, I'm contemplating the fact that this woman's taller than Frost. He'll wave and walk forward.
So you wave to get her attention. She frowns and it quickly fades away, but she inclines her head and the frown is suddenly miraculously back there. It's almost as if she's attempting to fight her natural inclinations and failing at it. As you approach, the accent that comes from her lips is thick and vibrant. Please tell me you did not wave at me.
Maybe.
That is... Please say what you mean. English is not my first language, and the subtleties and sarcasm sometimes escapes my understanding. Why did you wave at me?
Cause why not? And also, like me, you seem out of place here. Especially seeing you can't, your face. Not that words fail.
English is not your first language either. I speak French and Mandarin and Japanese. I doubt that you would speak Swazi.
Yeah. English is, I'd say I'm fluent in English, but, no. What I was saying is, trying to get to the point here. I came to this party, or at least because, for a few reasons. One, to find others of my clan, and 2, because of my surrogate sire. But mainly to get to know others of my clan so I could...
I won't pretend to know what clan you are, but I doubt that we are of a similar clan. But all the same, I'm glad that you attempted to reach out. May I ask, why specifically your clan? You have a surrogate sire, a Maula, yes?
Yes.
Is there something about being as we are that you specifically can only learn from your clan?
Yeah, because my clan has more feralness to it than...
What is it that you don't know? How to be an animal? Every man knows this. What is it that you do not understand? There's much we don't know, but with a bit of focused research and asking, we can learn. What is it specifically you don't know that you can only obtain by those who share your blood, even if they don't share your understanding, your perspective, or your language?
Well, I know we all see the world differently. And usually people with the I just... Seeing as I'm pretty sure you're Gangrel, same as me. My sire, Toreador. We're a bit different. I want to learn about my Bane.
The only way to master your grasp of English is to use it more. As far as being of a similar blood, we don't share any, my friend.
Oh. Great.
But just because we do not share blood does not mean that there's nothing for that I might be able to teach you. Namely, information, research, and history is abounding all around you. If you limit your path of thought and your perspective to just one view without understanding the whole, you are setting yourself up for failure. And she takes a small step closer, inhaling the scent wafting off of Frost.
Old country.
You, my friend, are stained by many deaths. This is quite tasty for me, but I will not impugn your sanctity of space and your own agency to rip that from you. Might I suggest speaking with a priest or some such to purify your aura? It very much is, it stinks very nicely.
A priest? So you mean I won't burn up as soon as I walk into a church?
It is often best to ask a simple question instead of infuse it with the ignorance of not understanding or grasping. Have you been entering a church thus far? Have you tested it?
I haven't been in a church since I was 5 years old.
That may explain many things. Faith, belief, these things enrich the soul. The practice of understanding how small you are, what you might accomplish, even being as small as you are. These are lessons. These are moments, and it does not require the strength of blood to learn these things. There are more things in this world. There is more to even our pale imitation of life than could be obtained by simply entering into what one believes is an echo chamber. We are forgive me. Forgive me. Your scent is very intoxicating. I believe that I should leave your space. And for your sake, do not find yourself in close proximity to Baron McEwen or Senator Calixte or Advisor Vune. Death is perfume-like for us. We will often have a small issue. I wish you the best of luck with your evening. If you should look for me once you purify yourself or find some way to be free of death, you may look me up. I am a contingent of the Republic of Riverdale. I suppose now I am a baron, but I don't really want that title. I will probably join my forces with Baron Ika.
Well, I would
lovely
shake your hand, but I bet that's not the best idea right now.
You like toying with your continued resistance. I can only restrain myself so much. Please don't tempt me. Don't jest with me. Take what I say to you very seriously.
Of course. Nice meeting you. And I'll go deal with that, yeah.
As Frost moves away from Lelio, and pardon me, let me look at it alphabetically here. One quick second. As Frost heads off to find himself, and having met Lelio, Muzan, who has managed to mingle amongst the crowd almost too silently to be true, even knowing that he is under scrutiny. Because there's just certain things you pick up along a long life. There are certain things you pick up as a survivor, and there's certain other facets that are immediately present. Namely, looking down at his forearm, he could see it. That means that someone had been watching him from the moment that he left or was standing near his coterie, his newfound group of associates. Someone had been watching him this entire time. Otherwise, he would be truly invisible, not just socially invisible.
And would Muzan know who this is, or would he be able to see them?
Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits plus, which would be most appropriate. You can either use your natural stealth or you can use your obfuscate.
So wits and stealth?
Yes.
Wits and stealth it is. I'm assuming I'm at 1 hunger from last session, right?
Yes, you managed to not kill them. They were quite tasty. It's nothing like dealing with professionals who are able to make you feel as if you're the only kindred in the world, to make sure that you have as good a time as they do being a victim of their kiss. It's a rare thing. It is definitely a toe-curling moment. And for someone such as Muzan, who has extra bones and extra knuckles on his toes, that is a very pleasurable feeling. Being able to crack all 6 toes, each of those 4 knuckle bones on each one, it is delicious. Just that sheer crack, 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 crack. But as that aside is popping and running through his head, Muzan finds him all too close to Urzuli. And the reason why it's all too close to Urzuli, unlike Icarus, you do realize just how close to the sun you should never get. And in easing around a party that was moving past them, clearly heading toward where Dia is, you step within the circle of influence of all of that bright, shiny focus. Oh, child. Oh, my goodness. I've been meaning to speak with you all night. What the fuck is going on, my friend?
I'm smiling, just like you asked.
That is a good thing, though I'm sure that most of these folks don't have an idea how to tell the difference. And she reaches out and places her hand against your forearm, pulling you more firmly into the circle of conversation. Now, this here is a friend of a friend, which makes him all the better for it. Now, I'm not sure any of you are aware, but our host, and you motherfuckers say hostess, and I smack the very first one, because host is enough. Why must you delineate her sexuality, you perverts? A friend of our host. This gentleman is beyond reproach. They were willing to stand up to my bluster and wind power. And you know how us Chicagoans are. But he is a special such, because I haven't spoken with Dancer Dan. Remember, and she waves across at the bar. Dancer immediately palms, but breaks out a bright smile. Speaking with our good friend Dancer, you all remember him. This is our new Senator Muzan, head of all of the... And she lowers her voice. Now, you don't mind me calling you by that dirty name? Or would you prefer the official one?
You can call me whatever you want, sweetie.
You are so my type. Oh Lord. After those sweet nothings, our lovely senator of the Nosferatu in all of the township, who is part of our lovely host's cabinet. Can y'all believe that we are in the presence of sheer absolute royalty? Because none of you motherfuckers have title of your entire clan. You a senator, but it has nothing to do with your blood. You a baron, and again, has nothing to do with your blood. You not much of anything at all. But this gentleman here, our lovely Muzan, is the senator and primogenitor and baron all rolled into one for all of our lovely Nosferatu friends who may have seen you all doing things that you would not like posted on the internets of the entire township. And there's a begrudging y'all can't do better than that. This is a party. It's okay to be a little loud. And she whispers again to Muzan, can you believe these motherfuckers jealous of your power? Have you ever seen that? Look at this. Yay, Senator Baron Primogen Muzan. Now that was just uncalled for. Y'all was just hateful. Why don't you go on ahead and find us one of those lovely donuts that you like? Preferably not the female kind. That's just rude. Stop preying on innocence. Go find somebody who's your same girthiness and bring them hither. Come on now, move along. But you running around here being all tall, dark, and mysterious, how did you all decide that you're going to be the entirety of the head of your entire clan out here? That is just miraculous.
Quite literally.
And that's a very good thing that you are. That's a very good thing that you are supporting my good friend, Concordia. It's also a very good thing that the telltale signs of those who would much rather not be whispering amongst people like myself, I easily ignore. Now you have to tell me everything. We are all friends, and we need to get our eggs all in the same basket so that when we toss it up in the air, we really don't care. We're packed in that tight enough that nothing can hurt or slip between. How's she holding up over there? I noticed that this is not necessarily the best of venues for her.
I mean, how do you think someone who's promoted to leader of your clan only a few nights ago is doing? Especially after a changing of the guard, as it were, in a rather violent fashion. Muzan lowers his voice a little bit more at this point and just says, she needs some help.
Oh, I know. I have done what I could when she visited me when I still held some little bit of something, because my old man always said nothing good comes after a but. Nothing comes after a but shit. So, and with my position currently in flux, the best I can do is act as a distraction without some official standing. I swing a very outside of my weight class, but when the rubber hits the road, one must be carrying the proper armaments about themselves. It's fine being able to duck and dodge, but eventually you're going to have to throw a punch back. And right now, outside of my weight class is flyweight.
Don't suppose you wouldn't be able to give her a pep talk or something to get her motivated and start making some friends where she should?
Motherfucker, I look like a cheerleader to you.
Yes.
Well, you and I clearly watch the same adult movies, but no, I am not. I am, however, the head mother for a house of the heart. I am the house mother for several other houses. My dear friend and second in command, as it were, unfortunately disappeared, and I have no understanding of where that might be. And you and I both know what that means. And none of that is good. This attempt on my life, my personal, my business, and most importantly on my faith has, despite this bright, sunshiny face and my all-American good looks, is a targeted attack that I will respond to. But in the meantime, how about you two help me? We build our own little thing, this own little thing of ours, because pain can be good, it can be informative, it can be instructional, but I need to be able to have a bat to swing besides the one I carry on me always, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I get you.
So, I understand that Thornton Township is under new management and that you all are getting your legs under you, but there's got to be more than just Dalton and Riverdale, because Riverdale is all but chopped up, and Dalton is well on his way, if I'm judging right, based on what Creepy met wannabe Dracula over there and his party of individuals have done. But there's more to Thornton Township than just Dalton and Riverdale. A little scouting, a little snooping, a little gathering of forces and making alliances outside of what's already been carved up, so that when the other shoe falls and someone holds your feet to the fire, you can kick the motherfucker's teeth down their throat. But that would be my suggestion. And little old me got outmaneuvered by God knows who, hiding in the dark and making their plans to lay us low. Just for my own worry, my own concern, does it look like I would be associating with or hiring an assassin that could barely keep his head on straight?
You? Never. I would never think of such a thing.
I may be many things, and I'm friendly to most, but I'm never condoning obvious mental issues. That just And that's the fact that they use. That's what they use. One of my supporters, one of my supposed followers, one of the people that visited our parties killed a regent level Tremere. And I'm sure, and she reaches down and takes your misshapen hands into hers. And I'm sure, positive, that you know, if someone like me was to hire a knife in the dark, that it would not be found.
Muzan whispers even quieter. I most certainly wouldn't be.
You are just a dream. I may have work to help. At a later point, I know it may be beneath your current title and responsibilities, but a skilled man as strong and handsome as yourself deserves to ply their trade, their hobby, their avocation. And someone as handsomely beautiful as myself deserves to at least spit in their eye before being ridden out of town on a rail.
What you have in mind?
Yes, dear, what do you have in mind? It says, a person you had not thus far met. As they ease over into your conversation, it's clear that not only are they someone you haven't met before, but it is clear there are certain signs that people wear, certain social cues, minor tics, some micro expression that betrays who and what they actually are. And what is most easily apparent in this person's bearing, in this person's carriage, is that they are the preternaturally and immortally always out of their depth in a social situation. Reading the room being an impossibility, basically. And as you take a hot second, a very small hot second to look them over, not only is that clear, but there's some small, strangely still relevant portion of yourself that feels pity on them. I'm sorry, I should start over. My name is Axel. What are we discussing?
Hopes, dreams, lost loves, the usual.
Lost dreams, hopeless. I'm sorry. Would you like me to start over? Oh, darling, aren't you the prettiest peach in the apple bin? And as Axel inserts himself into the conversation, and you hear him introduce himself twice more in the next 30 seconds or so, we shift our gaze as everyone is getting settled, as the conversations are being had, as lines are being drawn. Seth, looking for the regent is not hard at all. His old Hollywood good looks, his permanently well-coiffed beard, goatee combo, him looking to all the world as one would expect someone in a theatrical reimagining of Harry Potter as a middle-aged man, is not hard to find. What is strange to find is that standing on his arm, whispering into his ear, is a clearly biracial Asian woman, her hair brushing her shoulders pulled back into a queue. On her arm, acting as a shadow of sorts, is a darker skinned woman whose twin is clearly fully Japanese. And they're standing as two mirror images to one another, watching the crowd as James and Blakeney and Decibel are engaged in a minor conversation. As he spots you moving closer, he whispers into her ear and excuses himself to meet you halfway.
My Lord Regent, seems I walked into something.
Yes, you did. I'm taking it that you were following your red-haired friend.
I wanted to dissuade and distract Brigitte, but your needs and the Chantry's needs take precedence over trying to stop the crazy Irish woman from doing whatever the hell it is that in this 30 seconds she's decided to do.
She is quite the social butterfly. I've caught our friend, Baron Senator Blakeney, occasionally looking for her and her just suddenly appearing. Most people don't seem to realize that she is able to move along the path of shadows. Most people haven't caught on that is what she's doing.
She is a shadow walker. I can absolutely confirm that. And she seems to take a singular happiness in drawing me out to my old life in Boston and pestering me like a small sister.
Sister, you said.
There is no other social dynamic that could better describe how she reacts to me and how she interplays with me.
So she plays with you. Very nice.
She does. It is a game in her. It is a game in her head, much like a kitten going after a feather moving object. But every time I deal with her, I can't tell whether I'm the kitten or the feather. Yes, that is the very reaction that I have every damn time. But I really need to speak to you as Regent of the Chantry. And I need to put aside the efforts of Blankly and her minion for just a moment.
Okay.
I'm
very curious.
We are, as the Chantry, the nail in the Bahari's coffin if we work at it. There is a ley line beneath the Pisketeers, and Tony Carbonera has found a way through our arts to tap that line. And that's why he was able to do the things he did in the previous mass meeting where the sheriff and the Dom both met their end. And I think it is in our best interests as the Chantry to put an end to it, even if it means contacting Dussault and asking for his aid in that area. The Bahari are going to cause torment and death among us on a scale we haven't seen since the last Lycan incursion. And I think the Tremere themselves are the answer to the problem. And in that answer, we can find ourselves moving forward Dussault's goals in Chicago. I realize you as a Baron are in every way an anarch, and Orin, he is in every way an independent. He's an archaeologist. But I have always been part of the tower.
So has Orin. At least on everything but practice.
On paper.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest with ourselves. Orin is a member of the tower because it lets him be an archaeologist independent. That's all that ever was. He plays lip service to every prince he has to deal with. He jumps from principality to principality to further his own ends.
Mm-hmm.
But of the three of us, I'm the ex-cop, ex-soldier. I am a tower Tremere.
Yes.
I am what Dussault envisioned.
I'd be surprised in that regard, but I understand your point.
And honestly, there are two truths I'm dealing with right now. Where I live, I am alone other than with Tremere. There are no tower Tremere. There are no tower kindred anywhere in the city other than myself. And I don't mind. I never did. But with the Bahari coming in and the rumors out of Gary and the craziness coming out of Chicago, I'm feeling more and more alone. I would like to close some of those doors. And the door I would like to close the most is the Bahari door.
And why would you like to do that?
I would like the Chantry to close ranks with Senator White. And I think we would be best served working together to close off his access to the ley line that he's claimed praxis on. I think Dussault could be convinced that it would be in our best interest as a clan to close that off. I think it would serve the Anarchs and the independents of Thornton Township to make that happen. I think it would further your own goals as the regent of Thornton and my own personal goals of seeing my senator, of whom I have counsel to, further her own claim. I think all of those things together make it a saleable item. But we need to close that crazy bastard Tony off from that ley line. We need to find someone or a group of someones who are capable of tracking the ley line and taking the power out of it by whatever means, so we can take the Bahari train wreck demon that has taken over the city out of the equation. If we can manage that, Chicago would no longer come after you as a township.
Yes, they would. But I understand your idea. You're appealing to my better judgment. You're appealing to my sense of vanity. You're appealing to your regent.
I'm appealing to the power that exists. You've always known me. You've always known that I came from Orin. Orin is tower. He taught me the tower ways. But even in kind life, The tower was always going to be my destination. But I am loyal to you. You as my regent, your wants, your needs are primary. And we need to get out from underneath the crazy demon that is inhabiting that bastard. And I don't have any wrong thought.
You, sir, don't understand your station. How dare you speak on my attire in a moment like this? Excuse me, Baron McEwen. I'll be right back. And he grabs you by the scruff of your neck and starts walking you up the stairs.
Forgot who he was talking to. God damn it. And I let him drag me up.
The moment you guys get upstairs and you head out the front door, he makes a hand sign behind him. And you feel as if you are standing in front of a air conditioner turned all the way up and projecting its coolness into the environment around you. You feel temporarily frozen. And while that settles in, give me one quick second. As that coolness settles down to your very bones and the air and the world around you looks grayer, there is a fire in his eyes that you have never seen before. It is a clear passion and a raised blood pressure level of needing to get something out, but trying to find the words that don't cause you to explode and pop wide open. I understand my good friend Orn may not have been present as often as he should have. I understand that you may not have been a focused aspect of a hierophant that you didn't receive by dint of your physical capabilities, to which brought you to Orin's attention. I am very much aware of the ley line. I was working the senator so that we might have access to the ley line. Until you appeared as a part of her cabinet, the plan had always been to co-opt her trust enough to have use of it. There are a multiplicity of decades of us partying, the entirety of our clan associating with the Toreador of the area, because they each hold nexus points as part of their domain. The former Queen of Spades was not only simply a nexus of two strong currents, it was a nest. It managed to hold within its domain the width and breadth of over 70 minor ley lines. It was all but a permanent doorway into the worlds beyond this one. And while the Pisketeers is not that powerful in comparison, it is supernally strong. And then he points past the building towards the reservoir just behind. That is only superficially man-made. There is an underground tributary that feeds that. All of that power pools here at the Pisketeers. And I'm unsure what all Calabalarshi has applied himself to. It'd be foolish of him to not have remote viewing and scrying on the presence that he uses as his haven. He is counting on us making a move against him, as we are the only ones who logically could. We could find the name of whatever fey being he has tapped into. We can make a pact with several different strata of infernal beings to assail him during his day's rest. We can find a way to separate him from the power, but we don't want to do that just yet. And I know you're balking at the idea of it, but we don't want him to be removed until we have enough allies and power that we can stand completely on our own. If we bend the knee again as a separate, divisible chantry to the Grand Chantry, once more our standing within our pyramid will be the far lesser. There is a long con and a short failure, and between the two, I suggest we begin towing the line of the long con. As long as Calabalarshi holds power, we know who does. We know who has the final say, which gives us time to utilize that lack of a vacuum, that lack of chaos, to ensure that when we move, success is all but guaranteed. We cannot antagonize him or get him to focus on us until we are strong enough to sever his connection to both the ley line and whatever infernally fey being he is utilizing. We have to destroy him in one fell swoop, and if we cannot be assured that that is the case, we cannot move, at least not on him directly. We can operate against the other barons. We can operate against the other senators. We can operate against the others who are out there in our township, so that when he falls by our hand or by our machinations, we achieve all of our goals.
So what? I don't mean to sound aggressive, but I really am. What are we waiting for? What mistake, what short step are we missing that he has to make? Because I want to be there at the time that fall happens.
Well, he's revealed his hand. He revealed where his source of ingrained ability comes from. How long did he say we had to toe the line at the gathering where he slaughtered Geneva and most of the Republic of Riverdale?
He didn't give a real timeline.
Sure he did. What did he say? 1 year and 1 day.
He thinks that a year and a day of non-compliance, of non-interference, a year and a day, and he would be able to do whatever it is he plans to do.
Yes, so we have a time frame. But in that is also a clue. 1 year, 1 day is a standard pact. Especially the 1 day. The standard pact with fey beings. With beings from beyond the hedge. Specifically the she. Trolls typically don't bother with a year and a day. It is you'll serve me for 1 good deed plus 1 day more. Or Puka, don't worry about a year and a day. You will bring me 100 shiny things plus 1 day's worth more.
And demons also don't deal with
1 year and 1 day. No.
You
would have a status. When you achieve, your soul is mine.
You're right. And I was probably not paying attention to that day when Oren told me that as closely as I should. It is definitely a Fae type bargain. But
Yes.
Why would the Fae be so interested? And
Because they're dying like we are. While our humanity fails and falls and slips into darkness, their grasp on existing does. They cease to be. I'm sure that he's pledged some manner of continued fealty, some adulation, some way to make sure that whatever he is involved with receives all of the juicy, lovely dreams of immortals that he can access. Because that is what keeps the Fae going.
So you think it's the she or the Unshili?
No, most assuredly. And we, having that understanding, can work 2 and 3 steps removed to find out exactly which one without showing our hand. As long as we don't call on the power, as long as we don't attract the attention of that she, we will be in the clear when they enact whatever revenge from Calabalarshi breaking their deal. Which is, again, what we will work towards via proxy, so that we are in the clear. And if it fails, which it more than likely will several times over, we have the opportunity to collect the research data and fail better next time. We cannot. We should not. You may do as you wish, after all. We are a dime a dozen, and I'm sure that there's another magister just waiting to achieve your position of freedom and authority within the chantry.
Do not call me Magister. We both know that my magical arts are not up to that level. Whether Warren decided to give me that title,
It's the strength of his position.
That is the strength of his position, and he is a magister and more. I'm not. As much as he would like me to be, as much as my words fake that I am, I'm not that level within the chantry. But
yes. But I need to know that.
No one needs to know that but you and I. You need to know that.
I already do. And we are in a relative cone of silence. There's not many that could prescribe through what we've managed to array here. However, there still are other abilities that may. So we'll keep certain information, namely your actual spiritual strength, your actual thaumaturgical skills, a secret, because that is the first weapon they believe that we will come with. Your gun, your physicality, your mundane skills will be unexpected, will be discounted, so long as they believe that you are a thaumaturgical threat.
And I am trying to become that threat as well. But my main threat is the ear that I have of the senator. And I plead the chantry will, at least in an underground way, tie bonds with the Council of Senator White. Because I would like to see the chantry continue within Thornton and under the purview of Dissolve. And one of the only ways that's going to happen is if we tie ourselves to the powers that be. And let's face it, in Thornton, the roses are the power.
But they don't realize it.
Whether they realize it or not, they are. There is no group that has better ties to Kine and Kindred simultaneously than the Rose. Even the Ventura have not managed to pull off the amount of power that Nicole, and in her absence, Concordia have managed to put together.
Right. Luckily for us, there are so few, and we would like to keep it that way.
Exactly. We keep them few but powerful. Concordia, Zach, they are a mainstay of Thornton. They draw psychic and real temporal power from not only the Kindred, but also the Kine within Thornton. And I would say the Chantry is best served, whether overtly or covertly, tying themselves to Concordia's domain, her barony. Because as I read the map, we don't have an actual barony. We have locations. We have minor domains. But with them, we have actual real estate. We have actual power. We have actual area that we could draw power from. And I don't mean to second guess my betters. I don't second guess you. I don't second guess Oren. I don't even second guess DeSaul. But in Thornton, with the Bahari being a relevant problem, making real ties with Concordia is in our best interest.
My dear Magister, that is exactly what you are here for. You are to strengthen our ties and comport yourself as honorably as possible and ensure that she understands that you are, well, perhaps not the cream of our crop, very near the top indeed, and one of the more outstanding members of our blood, so that when the time comes, and it is a choice between us and others, that they will choose us. And while you are endearing yourself to your senator, I will be endearing ourselves towards all of the mystical research and knowledge that I can perhaps put my hands upon, so that we may launch a complete and total annihilation of your house guests. But until we are ready, everyone, including your house guests, must simply think us ineffectual, not focused, not contemplating to overthrow the one power that is holding this peace in place.
Would it be of any help if I could draw out the physical manifestation of his tap into the ley line? I could give that to you.
If you can find what that is. If you can find what that is. I have been searching this entire evening, poking and prodding without getting noticed, which is very, very difficult, while holding a conversation with someone so mentally draining as Blakeney. But when I find it, if I find it, then, well...
Well, I have a sketch of the room he is using as the tap. The furniture layout, the feng shui he used to make access.
That cheeky lad indeed. Geomancy, the most mundane of all thaumaturgical pursuits. It is almost impossible to crack from outside of the space. We'd need to enter into his space and alter the geomancy.
I altered it once, but then he killed a bunch of people and altered it back. But I have the notes. I can give that to you.
No, and the notes are appreciative, but your memory is far more valuable. We will need to enter into his space when it's time and alter the geomancy so that he is no longer able to. It's a beautifully simple, logical plan on preventing any from ever actually gaining access, because who would have thought that someone so skilled and naturally gifted would result to effectively thaumaturgical party tricks to achieve a spell? Dirty bastard.
Yeah, exactly. So I hand over the page where I wrote down the layout and the iconography that Tony had used. I handed it over. I said, "This is what he used. This is what it was. Keep it in your pocket. That way, when you send whomever you send, you'll have a leg up." But as soon as I changed it, he killed a bunch of people, then he changed it back. And I'm not going back in there alone. I don't have the thaumaturgical or physical firepower to dissuade him as it stands right now. But this is another bullet in your gun. And when you tell me you're ready, I'll do the thing. The other issue I have is with Lakeney. She is adamant and frightening, and the people with her are powerful. And while I have good interpersonal relations with their liaison, the senator themselves, I don't have that kind of contact. So any information you could feed me that would get me in good or get me in bulletproof would be greatly appreciated. Because right now, the dealings we have had may cause a small blood war between Gary and Thornton. And I would prefer not to add another front to our already busy schedule.
If you enforce them to pay attention to anywhere but here that would work in my benefit, then Gary is close enough and far enough away that it would require some attention and focus. Point them towards Gary. Point them towards Chicago. Point them anywhere except for us so that we can operate in peace.
So make the Tremere look dumb and ineffectual. Make the Blood Hunters look somewhere else. And wait for you to come up with a plan to deal with Carbonera.
The plan for dealing with Calabalarshi is already in place. It's now finding the necessary ingredients to enact the spell of it all. To follow through with the recipe and create a dish deserving of the destruction necessary.
Okay, so we need to lay... I really can't call him by his actual name. I just can't after seeing him with Zach.
Well, there's power in names, and remember this. If you obfuscate his name to your own recollection, how much more power have you lost over him when the time comes?
The name I've come up with for him is purely ridicule.
Correct. But you must respect your enemy. That is the only way to truly account for what they might do. He was brilliant enough, tactically gifted enough to, while not knowing who the senator was, to realize that this was not only a source of mystical power, but also political power as well. Even with outdated intelligence, he was able to all but stage a coup. He was all but able to account for our next actions, and he was all but able to account and engage with a lesser god. Not respecting that will put us in a position where victory will guaranteed to escape our clutches.
So I should start calling him Calabalarchi.
Whatever it takes for you to respect that mind to do such heinous things so decidedly. If we take him for a joke, we will treat him as a joke. And that's the last thing that would serve us. He's someone to punch up. We don't expect him to use his mind. He's someone to outthink. We don't expect him to use his body. He is someone that we don't believe graduated the 8th grade, and he's someone that we don't think will be intelligent enough to understand the philosophies that we're using. Underestimating him is a serious issue.
I don't underestimate him. I just can't like him.
Why
As
not?
an adversary. I just can't like him.
Why not? That's the best way to get rid of your adversary. Find out what makes them worthy of your respect. Find out what makes them likable so that you can better use it to destroy them.
He stole power with no... I mean, this power is going to drain him and kill him.
And
He does not care.
And if you underestimate that he would know that, perhaps not that he doesn't care. Perhaps he's accounting for it, or he's ensuring that his failure will achieve some other goal. By disrespecting and taking him for a joke, we will not be able to see whatever it is that he's working on, whatever the end goal is. And we want to see that end goal. The better to take it from him, the better to twist into his heart and destroy him. We need to see the whole picture. We need to find the name of the entity without ever revealing our hand. We need to find what is his golden parachute and or why he doesn't have one, so that we can use it against him.
I start calling him by his correct name. I subsume to your wisdom. You're right. I need to address him as he is to understand him. But I won't lie. He will always be Tony Carbonara at the end of the day. But in all dealings I have with him, he will be Calabaya Archie from now on.
It is quite a mouthful.
It is. It's ridiculous.
That may be the reason why your associate Zag likes him, because he is a mouthful.
That could be true. Just so I know, what is the official stance? Not officially out in public, but officially between you and I. With Senator Blankenly.
Things about her have changed recently. She is back to the shrewd mind she was several decades ago. I know that there are other things afoot. And as long as we...
Well, she's called for open warfare with any other blood source coming into Thornton. And I want to know whether we have a response or whether we are in concordance with that thought.
We right now are in accordance with whoever and everyone that will cause chaos enough to keep anyone from looking at us. It's a good thing. Start a fight. Pick a war. Get someone else to do it for you. As long as they're not looking at us, which gives us time to operate. And that is more valuable than any number of other kindred's lives.
So basically, make good with the contact I have. But at the same time, having Concordia make good with outside sources. So there is some level of chaos with the blood source.
Yes, blood is how we continue existing. As everyone's worried about where the next meal is going to come from. Again, it will hide our actions and our aims.
How much of this would the Chantry like me to share with Concordia?
She is your asset. You are part of her cabinet. Your trust in her, as long as it is founded, is your trust in her.
My trust in her is absolute.
Oh, that is dangerous.
It can be dangerous, but she is a power and a leader that I have not seen outside of yourself and Dussault. She really, really cares about what's going on. But if I can draw her into the deception where she's willing to pit blatantly against the Gary source that we have, I think it will cause a massive amount of chaos that we can take advantage of. But I want to be truthful with her in those dealings. And that's what I'm asking. Is the Chantry accepting of this plan?
Never. But we defer to your judgment of your asset. How you handle it is how you handle it. But be prepared that it is your responsibility as it is your call.
I'm willing to take an acceptable risk.
Very good. That means that we are all in order. Now, for the record, being as you did insult my attire as far as everyone is concerned, would you be so kind as to rip your shirt sleeve?
What? Oh man, I just bought this shirt. God damn it. And I open up the left and the right sleeve shirt. up to the elbow so that my forearms are available.
Oh no, I'm not going to enact. You are, which means you gotta go ahead and give yourself a little nick and channel your vitae into your epidermis so it looks as if you are still bleeding. When you've done so and you've managed that look, I will meet you inside. After you've been properly reprimanded, of course, and it's such a horrible, overbearing regent. You understand.
I understand. God bless America.
And he walks back in and gives you the time to properly arrange yourself as if you all have had a scuffle and it has cost you dearly and you're just too verklempt and overworked that you can't control your vitae. And while that's happening...
Fucker. God damn it.
Inside. Zach, having heard the conversation and watching Frost and watching Dia and listening to what had been proposed, listening to Lothair's all too centuries ago understanding of how to do politics, you are positive that he's never had a Twitter account, let alone a TikTok account or a YouTube page or a Weibo, you are absolutely sure that that man is several steps outside of what modernity of thought is actually about. Or maybe he's spot on.
Oh. Right now, Zach is still looking for Faustin.
Okay. So putting his thoughts in the matter at hand out of mind almost completely. You look towards Seth and the white-haired gentleman speaking, and all of a sudden Seth and him are moving toward the stairs and up and out the door. It's something about you insult my attire, let's settle this outside, or some crap, stupid machismo that you thought was stupid back in high school. The dark biracial woman, well, not the dark hair, but the dark-haired biracial Asian woman that was nearest to them looks quizzically after them, but then turns back to talking to the platinum blonde. It is clear that Baron McEwen is considerably not quite what you were expecting when hearing the name Faustina McEwen.
Zach looks back to Dia and then starts walking towards that pair. But he decides not to interrupt if they're busy. Just wait for them to be done before making his presence known to them.
As you approach and you stand there, your hair as ill-coiffed as usual, a wild bird's nest of lack of common approach to hair care or anything else. It is a stylistic, artistic decision on your part. And Faustina looks towards you and she smiles. You've been MIA, Mr. Volkir. That is the term, correct? I didn't misspeak that one at least.
It has been a very long week.
Oh, and it's just Monday.
I'm sure you've heard of the rumors going around about me and some property of mine.
No, I don't listen to gossip, my dear boy. What is it that I should be paying attention to, or has come to the public's attention?
Well, a lot of people seem to believe that I am a traitor. Now, as to why they believe this, I cannot pretend to know. But, also according to rumor, it seems some old friends of mine have begun to move against me.
Oh, which business interests of yours and political aims are they interfering with?
Hey, can you repeat that? I didn't quite catch that.
What business aims are they intending to interfere with?
Well, Rosie is not only my business, it is also my home. But it seems that if there is any truth to the rumors, it may be my home no more.
See, and have you looked into your home?
Well, according to my most recent messages, it was still mine, which makes me to question the legitimacy of the rumors. But in times like these, one can never be too certain.
Well, as the Rosie is within my domain, which has grown larger, I can, of course, look into it when the opportunity arises. But is there something that is something more to the club? I've never been inside, but I have been near and listened to the raucous music and the quality of the crowds entering and leaving. So outside of something that is obtainable, is there any other reason why I should be looking into the Rosie?
Well, I was hoping you may have heard something or another, but if you have not, then I will quit wasting your time.
Oh, the opportunity to speak to someone outside of Mr. Rich is always a very good thing. We share like-minded issues and pursuits, and I allow them to operate inside of my tyranny. What is it that he shared with you?
Well, he and I have not spoken often, but I actually heard this rumor from those who from two by the name of Katya and Axel. I believe those were their names.
I see. Well, I don't want to belabor a dead horse. But I will do my best when the moment presents itself. Unless there's something of value you'd like to perhaps potentially sway my time frame on this.
Oh, no. This is merely a personal dispute that I was hoping to obtain the tools needed to settle it myself. So, as far as my concern is concerned, it is at your leisure.
I see. But aren't you part of the Senator's cabinet? It's a shame with you all being given the worst portions of Dalton, but I suppose that's to be expected. I understand that Decibel doesn't particularly like members of your clan.
As to me being part of a cabinet, that much is true.
Oh? And are you potentially also the senators to do with as they please?
Well, now. That is a rather interesting way of looking at it. I fear I haven't had much time to really think that part through.
Well, my dear Mr. Volkir, I wish you the best of lucks. And if there's something that I can handle for you, I'm sure that with our mutual associations, you'll be able to find where I might be, and we can proceed from there in a very business-like manner. And she pauses and she looks around. Well, as Senator Blaney has already begun moving through the party, I don't have an actual excuse, but let's simply say my grasp of English and my grasp of the world at large will not allow me to put one more lie into the world. So I can't offer a reason for my escape, but I will leave you to your personal issue so that you might solve it in your own way. Good day, Mr. Volkir.
Do. And with that he departs from the pair and starts heading back towards Dia.
Well, they weren't that far away, but they were able. You all were in line of sight with one another.
Wait, what was that?
You were separated in your own devices, speaking your own conversations, but you're close enough to be within eyesight of one another. You can make out body. You can make out gestures. You can make out body language. You could all but hear the conversation if you all had aspects up. But in a room like this, with even the background music playing from the speaker system, you're never sure when it's going to spike, when the bass is going to hit, or when the lights may respond to the tempo of the song.
Using heightened senses right now would be pretty risky. Oh, that's not a set of dice Zach's willing to roll. Instead, he tries to Instead, he whips out his phone. And I'm writing up the text right now.
Okay, and while you're doing that, and from your vantage point, watching Muzan, watching Frost, watching Seth, what's going through Dia's mind? What is Dia up to?
Noticing the whole yanking Seth by the collar and dragging him upstairs thing, she raises an eyebrow and files that away to ask about later, because while it might be what it seems, she's not stupid. And she's seen a diversion before, so
Okay,
yeah, she's gonna ask about that before later. And watching Frost and then seeing Frost disappear and getting their text messages, which she has replied to. She's, I swear, I hope he does not get into any further trouble. And watching Zach, and then getting a text message from him, which she checks. And kind of smirks and head tilts in their direction. Not texting back because it would be rude, still talking to Lothair at the moment. But yeah, they've kept track of it. And then watching Luzon interact with Arzuli was kind of a moment. Again, filing that away to ask about later, but for the moment, focus on where they're focused. Looking to Lothair and mentioning, while it wouldn't be completely fair for Zach, I think I might have a solution that would make both sides happy. We can have a meeting about it, of course, but maybe if I put a little money into what used to be the Ace of Spades and get it rebuilt, we can make it the new Rosie and make the old Rosie not the Rosie any further and just let your child have it. Make it bigger, better here in Dalton. I don't know, maybe that's a thing we can look into. But other than that, yes, meeting on neutral territory and just getting to know each other so that he will see that I am not the monster he thinks I am.
I know there's nothing between you and Karen.
Would be nice.
What about the monster that you are? You've slain your charm and grace on multiple occasions. You have battered aside any offers that I've made towards you. And most glaringly, you are willing to indulge a child in their separate quests instead of attending to the matters of state.
So I'm soft-hearted. I can't help that. As far as any offers you've made me, Lothair, I don't remember such things.
Well, you know what the response is. No response is, in fact, a response.
Well, then maybe messages have gotten lost in the sauce, as they would say, because I got no missives or interest from you. Oh wait, are you not talking personally?
I've only ever spoken personally. I've only ever been politely direct.
Well, I'm sure you understand the amount of scandal that would happen should we take up with each other. While I don't
I'm also the only person continued existing that knows where your other coterie mates are.
True. While that is not as big of a threat as it used to be, I don't take it lightly that you have kept my confidence in this. And appreciate it.
Well, there should be an understanding amongst our kind, specifically our blood, and the organization that we are by dint of that blood party to. And despite, unfortunately, all of my best efforts, you are aware as to what has become of my line specifically. You see how the old axiom is very much true. hard times creating hard men, and the times that we create in the offing, and the times that they create through their efforts. And while I am not a baron, and while I am not a senator, if it were my druthers, I very much would be engaged in the matters of state, despite all of my penchants aside, despite all of my urgings for the personal.
As per normal, you are quite correct. And I hate to say it. So, I will consider our matter mostly solved. But if you wish later to pick up this conversation, you know how to find me. She very gently takes his hand, turns it wrist up, and gives him a kiss on the wrist. And then lets her hand slide free of his. I have things to go talk about, I'm sure. And sashays away with a little extra hand swing in the hip towards Decibel, because it's very clear that Decibel is the leader de facto at the moment.
Yes, Senator White. Good evening. Thank you for attending the mental and social of our city, of our village, of the kindred of our township.
It is very much my pleasure. I mean, one does what one must. Sorry, it's been a very long evening. And who is this lovely young lady?
She is not your concern. Just as I would never impugn your cabinet members, as some would find that disrespect harmless. I would not. I never like the same.
She gives him a very curious look. Well, I mean, you know disrespect, obviously.
Of course, many things are taken for granted in familiarity. Let us not be that familiar. Let us be friendly and cordial and learn one another, so that there is value there.
Now, I see. Bad things I've heard, other things I've heard, but that is neither here nor there. As you
Of course. Oh, one moment, please. And he leans over to Cyprian, resting his hand on his shoulder, and just taps twice. As he does so, Cyprian moves to Dr. Bishop. Dr. Bishop moves to the young lady in chains, unleashing her from Decibel's hold and leading her out, much like the pet that she is.
That is a major flex. I see. So, word on the street is, with Geneva gone, that you have been tasked with leading this ragtag group, such as it is left. Any words to that?
Yes, I've decided to assume the mantle of leadership. There is not many of us capable nor competent enough to do so. And while there are several of us age properly to do so, there are not many of us who would willingly assume such a responsibility at no small loss to all of their personhood.
That is very true. I mean,
Look me in the eye and tell me that you want to know what
I definitely feel that
turning back.
there would be a lack of a better pick as far as someone who would assume power. But obviously, I have no designs on such things either.
Yes, most people don't. Most people, I have found, have no problem telling others how to do their job. Have no problem in making their expectations of what they will and will not accept very well known. Most people have no problem with the crown so long as they are the ones wearing it. Until it is time to do the work, until it is time to do the job, the day in, the day out. And many of us would simply complain until we felt we have our way, like the children of today's age. There is an accountability and responsibility inherent in leadership, and that unfortunately is not upheld by most.
So, with that being said, where do you feel Geneva landed in that?
Geneva had done the job for very long, longer than this village has existed. Geneva had become complacent.
And you do not wish to show the same complacency, I'm guessing.
I will not show the same complacency. There's no reason for it. If you're not moving forward, you're standing still. And if you're standing still, you might as well be well and truly dead. You might as well have received your final death, your true death. As such, I don't plan on dying anytime soon.
You seem like a decent person.
Nor do I.
This is to be seen. We both have intentions, and a long life is not guaranteed to either of us with our positions.
Well, part of me would ask, was that a threat? But otherwise, I know it's not.
Senator White, I do not threat.
I know.
I will tell you if I have any intentions to end your resistance. There's no point in having a fight or engage in an enemy that is unprepared for you, because if you are vanquishing something that is not at its full strength, you are not vanquishing that thing. You are martyring it. You are creating a saint that could be used against you later. If there was ever a need for us to engage as opposition,
Where have you been?
I assure you,
You've been
because
somewhere.
I would like to destroy only the strong,
What's in this?
that you will be made aware. And that in that knowledge you would be assured that I will give greater than I receive, and you will have to rise to the occasion to make sure that when you act against
I owe you an apology.
this is the standard of trust we should have amongst ourselves. Complete and total understanding that if we are to engage in opposition, that only complete victory will do. Not the part here, the little bit there, the unfold. No.
So,
If we
what did you decide?
have to engage in violence and opposition, it must be for the entirety. It must be valuable enough that either and both of us would be willing to throw away our immortality. To engage in violence and opposition without any stakes and with the opponent not being strong is a waste of our time and effort. Don't you think?
Where's Rand?
Well, I would agree mildly with that. That is not the Toreador way. So, if I am fighting,
Oh,
I'm
but isn't
fighting
it?
physically?
Oh, but isn't it? When you engage in opposition, well, When Nicole engaged in opposition, when Urzuli is waging war on your party floor, is it not for every bit of social grace? Isn't it for every bit of striking down your opponent finally and completely? It may not be physical death, but they are no less destroyed in totality.
There are large victories and there are small victories. Small victories add up.
Hey,
Every inch you can take from them is an inch you have. Water does not crumble the mountain in one fell swoop. It takes centuries, but it will crumble the mountain.
I see. Someone has been watching their martial arts movies from the 70s. Be water, my friend. Be water. Yes, it's a very good philosophy. I like this very much. Way of the Intercepting Fist was an interesting strategy. But all the same, you approach for a reason, and I take it that it was not for my company. What is it that you are after?
Actually, you're quite wrong. It was not company, more interaction. Seeing where we stand, and now that I have very much seen where we stand.
Yes, sorry about your domain. And there is not very much left of the township to share. So the small portion of unused space that you have received it's quite grand. If you really must be honest. And while you are here on the northeastern portion, and a good portion of your available space is not necessarily the most trafficked, but you do have very good neighbors nearby. You have so many good neighbors, from View and Senator Calixte to Senator Stewart to Candidate Village Group to Baron McEwen are directly abutting your domain, which gives you much protection if anyone were to attack from the south or the west. Not that we are expecting such troubles, but it is better safe than sorry, and we understand that Nicole and potentially you, much the same, are not geared toward a physical assault.
Very much so.
So we are protecting you as best as we might. And again, while it may not be the most populous area, there's space. There's time for an opportunity for you to potentially to build or utilize the spaces as you see fit. But it is the only one that is near enough and close enough and protected enough that we feel might deserve your efforts and attentions. Maybe later there will be room for your domain to grow or what have you.
So you assume I came to complain about my domain?
It is not the best, but it never was.
No.
Is the space too much for you? Perhaps maybe instead of extending as far north as it does, perhaps just taking a smaller portion closer to the other Baron and Senators so that there is a greater opportunity.
The lines are fine where they are. That is not why I came over here.
Are you sure? I would very much like to have you happy, and with the opportunity that we will potentially grow as a people's, perhaps maybe just to Lincoln Highway would help mitigate any need, and perhaps down south of the public library so that you have less need, or perhaps we could read all the same when there's maneuverability, so that you're not having to attend to such large space. And while again, there's not the most populous, it does have quite a bit of potential, and there are people that vagrate through the area, so there's always the opportunity for some feeding. And, well, it is not exactly the best. It is still very usable, very doable.
She is trying her best not to be irritated because he's starting to get on her nerves. But keeping that pleasant smile in place. No, again, I'm fine with the way things are. I am managing perfectly fine. And as far as feeding goes, I don't have much to worry about as far as there, because I get mine shipped in.
Of course. Not everyone can tolerate canned donors, but I understand that according to others, that they are quite skilled and very, very sensual.
I take it that's not your particular taste.
No, not at all. Why feed from the wheeling? Why not prove and attest to the monstrosity that we are? If you are not hunting your meal, do you really deserve to eat it? So many pleasures wrapped in the kiss, from the highly charged erotic centers of the mind to, if you are sufficiently alive enough, to the physical release therein, to the mental pleasures of all of your fantasies. And you would have someone simply offer it instead of you take it, instead of you hunt it, instead of you own every facet of them in that moment, instead of them controlling the sword with the sheath of their body. But each to their own. Not everyone can provide for themselves. This is a good service you offer to the others.
As you say, not everybody desires to fight with their meal beforehand. Spice is spice.
Why would one fight? You must consider them perfectly equal instead of just the best version of themselves for there to be a fight. I'm sure that in their mind, as they exit this world, they believe they put up a good fight, but there is no fight. You can only fight someone who is worthy of your full, unleashed, unbridled strength. And as best as they may be, as an example of their humanness, they are nowhere near us. It would be akin to striking down a child and saying that they came right at you. Oh my God, he's coming right at me. No.
Well, I see there are some thoughts on what humans actually are and where they stand.
If humans were that great, if being frail and mortal was truly, why would God allow such beings as us to exist?
But yet and still we need them to survive, do we not? I mean,
Much the same way you needed cows and pigs and sheep and various other animals of the field to stay alive when you were so much lesser and so human. So too we need our cows, hence the reason why they are called kine. Every time you use kine, you are calling them cow. And just like a cow, it is okay to hunt them, to set them free, to let them free range and roam, and hunt them for your sustenance. But our sustenance comes at such a high cost. Can't be any cow. That would be the path of bestiality. And I don't know about you, but I'm not a bestialitist.
While I understand where you're coming from with that, at the same time, these particular cows fight back. They are banding together to fight back and creating weapons that could very well kill us easily.
Then we deserve to die. Any person selfish enough to put the entirety of our community at risk deserves what befalls them. Anyone selfish enough to attain and attend to their personal issues over those of our community deserves what badness will come their way. And trust me and mark my word, if I catch wind of an individual doing so, I will be the badness coming their way.
But yet and still, you say hunting.
Yes, if you are not hunting, then what are you? And of course, this is prefaced by this being my personality, personal choice, and my perception. And yes, I think it less of us. But this is my opinion and my perception.
Which I find entirely interesting. But, like I said, we will agree to disagree. And I know
we agree. It is your choice. It is my choice.
exactly.
And as you have the opportunity to choose whatever you choose, it is okay for you to choose incorrectly. I knew you would find it funny. You Toreador find such things interesting. Wordplay.
Yes, exactly. Play. With a little bit of our own hunt tied into it. But
Yes.
I
have witnessed and watched your kind move, especially this Urzuli. If I did not know better, I would assume that you are using her as a cat's paw to attest and find out others' defenses so that you can utilize them later. But I know that you are not that sort. You're not very political. This is good for you to not be. This is folly. We do not start wars in our own backyard.
No, I had no intentions of starting wars in my backyard. Otherwise, I would not have called everyone here. If I planned a war, or I was planning a war, why would I tell everybody that's what I was doing?
You wouldn't tell them. You would have them show up to what they believed is a party, while you manipulate them to your own heart's desire.
Tactically minded. Interesting. But no, I truly wanted a bit of camaraderie and to band together in our time of need after losing so many.
Yes, it was a veritable purge. The ending of all of those power structures. It's almost as if someone managed to convey a message to a dangerous, powerful mage, let them know where everyone might be, so that even if they were unsuccessful, that person would be able to swoop in and maintain control of those that were left living. I know that none of us did so, but it very much seems that way, as if someone plotted ahead just early enough so that their assassin can move in and destroy our Geneva.
Are you admitting something? She leans in closer, but not too much into his face, but just like curious. Are you? What are you saying?
I'm saying that no one would suspect a newly ascended senator of plotting against their former lover. You know how emotions run and range, and the passions and the loss thereof, and how that could inspire enmity, especially with such a red herring as prosecuting an innocent kindred, or as innocent as we become, innocent of the crimes that were leveled against them. And when that began to go sideways and votes were moving in their direction for their innocence, suddenly other kindred arrived, and didn't they assassinate your former security agent and provide you with a new cabinet member who was former trained security? Almost as if you had someone clean house for you so that you could be perceived as innocent and receive all of everyone's goodwill. Not that I would ever accuse you of being that tactically minded or aware of the situation enough that you were willing to act on it. There's not many of us who are strong enough to do so.
While I would like very much to take credit for all that you've given me credit for, I am unfortunately, as you said, not that tactically minded nor smart about how things like this should move. No. I generally am what you see at face value.
I see. I will keep that in mind. But I was actually keeping an eye on you. Oh, my guests, my cabinet are already at the car. I want to thank you for a lovely engagement and for allowing me to see the realities of those around us. Good evening, Senator White.
Good evening.
And as he begins making his way to the door, several things present themselves to the coterie as a whole. With those that are now leaving and checking out, and with Muzan and Urzuli being in close camaraderie conversational range, it is clear that the lines have been both literally and figuratively drawn. There are sides and aspects to this. There is a die in the rolling for the fate of Thornton Township. There is a clock ticking that the moments are passing at their own pace. And what yesterday would have been or seemed an impossibility, today seems the only pathway through. And with that, I would like to thank you all for a lovely session. I will see you all soon for our next episode. Good night, everybody.